Okay, we're here with PPC candidate for Markham Stoufville, Jeremy Lin. Thanks, Jeremy, for taking the time to speak with us
Yeah,
today.
thank you for inviting me.
So, can you please tell us about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I am born in Canada. I graduated from York University with a Bachelor of Art and a Bachelor of Education.
Uh-huh.
I joined the PPC pretty much shortly after the party was founded, and it was actually you who convinced me to join the party for the most part. And I'm running because I feel like the country is going in a wrong direction, especially in the last 4 years. But even prior to that, there's been a lot of problems with our nation, and so I decided that I want to do something about it. So I hope that I'll be able to help you to get to know me better through this interview with Robert, and I thank you for taking the time to listen.
Okay, thanks. Did you have a red pill moment that led you to where you are today?
How do you define red pill, first of all?
Uh, I guess I'm thinking more like a maybe political or socio-political, something that really opened your eyes to going this way in terms of your political views or,
I don't
or
know. I think
worldview.
when I was a teenager, I
Yeah.
was sort of socialistic. I probably would have voted NDP.
Yeah.
Good thing the voting age is 18.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might have
Okay.
ended up voting NDP. But after my teenage year, I think I've been solidly conservative. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not really sure if I had any real red pill moment. The only thing I
Yeah.
would say is that the Conservative Party of Canada has been moving further and further away from conservatism,
Mm-hmm.
especially under Andrew Scheer, where he seems to be like the center. And in
Mm-hmm.
some cases, he might even be like center left, quite frankly, on some
Yep.
policies. So I guess I wouldn't say I had any real red pill moment. I know a lot of people who I was talking to a salon stylist yesterday, and
Mm-hmm.
she said she voted Justin Trudeau, and she said
Oh.
she really regretted it. And
Mm.
so I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of people too who got red pill because of Justin Trudeau, but I didn't
Yeah.
vote for him last time, and I've never voted Liberal or NDP. Although, like I said, if I was allowed to vote legally as a teenager, I might have voted NDP back then. But yeah, no.
Okay. Next question is why the PPC? Why People's Party of Canada over any other of the parties?
It's pretty simple. I mean, they're the only party that wants to protect free speech, and
Okay.
they're the only party that wants to reduce immigration level. And
Mm-hmm.
I think both of those issues are worth discussing um, in our current climate that we're in. And also because Maxine wants to end, like, how do I say it, hand out to corporation,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to help businesses, and he wants to balance the deficit. And of course, the conservative are not giving any deadline nowadays for balancing the budget. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, this is something that's common in most Western nation right now. So yeah, so basically all those reasons, but I would say
Mm-hmm.
especially immigration and free speech. Both of those things are really pressing issue, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, none of the other parties are talking about it.
Okay. Is there a political or historical figure that you look up to that you'd like to maybe emulate or look to as a role model?
Uh
Just one.
oh, just
Just
one.
one figure.
Oh, I don't know. That's hard. Maybe Ross Perot, I
Oh,
guess. Yeah. So
why Ross Perot?
because I think he was light years ahead of his time. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I the media made him
Yeah.
seem like he was a little bit wacky.
Yeah.
But back then
They
there was
did.
no social media,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but he talked about how the North American Free Trade Agreement would get rid of
Mm-hmm.
jobs in America. He talked about immigration. He wanted
Mm-hmm.
to secure the border. And I mean, I know George W. Bush and Clinton and Obama talked about securing borders, but I think Ross Perot would have actually acted on it. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he's a great guy. I felt it was sad that when he died,
Yeah.
nobody talked about his great accomplishment in life.
Right.
Like one of the things I admire the most about him was that when his employees were kidnapped in Iran, he actually hired ex-military commandos to go into Iran to rescue his own employee. And very few
Wow.
billionaires would do that. And the other thing too is he grew up in the Great Depression, and he still became a billionaire. And so it's not like, oh, circumstances has caused me to be unsuccessful in life. And so Yeah, I think Ross Perot. I mean, I think that it's sad how he was regarded by people afterward. But yeah, probably Ross Perot. I mean, you said only one. The
Yeah.
other one would probably be Ron Paul. Although there's
Mm.
certain libertarian values of his that I don't know if I
Mhm.
100% agree with. But yeah, probably those two.
Okay. Uh, would you tell us some of your strengths? What makes you stand out from the rest of the pack, from the other candidates in your riding? Just take a sip.
I'm not that good at advertising myself. I was on the I was on the FM 105.9 and
Yeah.
they asked me the same
Really?
question. Yeah. And Sarah was answering for me. She's like, he's
Oh.
young, he's energetic,
Right.
he has good
Yeah.
ideas, and the only thing I can say is that I think I'm real. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely get
when
that,
you
yeah.
were with me collecting signatures and we
Yeah.
were in the downtown business, I think I spoke to many issues that that they actually cared about, you know. So yeah, a lot of them seems to agree. So
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing, because Theodore and Helena and Jane, I seen Jane at big rallies, but
Okay.
I don't know how much she's really been on the ground. And I can
Right.
say the same for Theodore and Helena. They're strategically hitting areas that they think that they can get votes. So and so I think that they're not really. I think they're almost all elitist. I mean, like three of them are doctors: the NDP, the Liberal, and the Jane Philpott. They're all doctors,
Okay.
and I don't know how much they really know the struggle of the common people. So you know, why have a regular job? So
Yeah. So you're like a people's person. You really, you know, you can relate to.
in the sense that I can relate to them. So
Yeah, it's a good point. Okay. Next one is. What are some specific issues, or maybe one issue, that is affecting Markham Stoufville specifically, and what would be your plan to address it? I know they asked this during the debate, so maybe you wanted to expand on what you want to
yeah. Well, actually, I had some time to think about it because that guy caught me off guard. I'll be honest with you.
It was a good question.
It
yeah.
was, yeah, but with the time limit and stuff
Yeah,
like that, it
right.
was kind of hard to
sure.
answer it. But I mean, I'll probably touch on a few issues that's affecting Markham Stoufville,
Okay.
and then maybe I'll just talk about one or two solutions. So, affordable housing is one issue. High youth unemployment is another issue, and I think the wait time in the hospital is a third issue. So I would say that in regards to affordable pricing, affordable housing, I would say that our platform to reduce immigration is going to help in regards to that, because the issue really comes down to supply and demand. And the more people that we have, and we don't have enough houses, the more people are going to fight over those houses, and they're going to have to pay more. And because we want to preserve some green land, we don't want Toronto and other areas to become like a complete urban jungle. That doesn't allow us to open up the green belt. So if we want to preserve the green belt, and this might appeal to, like, you know, the environmentalists, then the only other solution is to reduce immigration and find a way to develop other parts of Canada so that immigrants who do come might want to travel to other areas, because right now they're all coming like to the GTA, to the Vancouver area, to Montreal, you know, Edmonton, Calgary. So it's probably driving the prices in the major city up, and all the surrounding suburbs. So.
Okay.
And as far as youth unemployment, I think if we cut red tapes, I think if we lower the taxes, I think also if we take in less people again, I believe that, you know, and if we eliminate trade barriers between the provinces, and end the corporatism, you know, the welfare for corporation, I think that will also help in regards to generating jobs. At least that's the hope, you know. So yeah.
Actually, I wanted to touch on, this is kind of off script, but
Sure.
The question he asked you at the debate was, your answer was homelessness, the homelessness problem in Markham Stoufville. Like, how would you address that? And what is the problem? You said there are people living in the bushes, things like that, like in the forest.
Yeah, that was according. There's a charity organization in downtown Stoufville called Hummingbird Hub, and anyone who lives in Stoufville, I really recommend that you go and volunteer your time over there. But she was the one, when I was collecting signature, who told me that there are homeless people in Stoufville. They're just hidden in the wooded area.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to have too much government intervention and stuff like that, because I find that the bureaucracy of government intervention tends to create more problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I would probably just bring awareness to the issue. So
Yeah.
as if I'm elected as MP,
Yeah.
I would be like with these organization, volunteering my time, getting the newspaper to write about it, getting
Yeah.
local media to cover it, so
Yeah.
that hopefully people with entrepreneurial skill will be able to find solutions to the homelessness problem. Because
Okay.
I mean, there's only so much money you can give, like through taxpayer, through these homeless people, and then you're gonna have to tax other people, and that's gonna create like less spending for the economy. If people are having more of their own money taken, then they'll probably not spend as much on the economy. So I think working with a private organization, trying to create more of these private organizations, rather whether religious or secular, is probably the solution. And the other thing is that it's not 100% a federal jurisdiction, so probably also work hand in hand with the municipal and also with the provincial government, to do so. Yeah. So.
Okay. Great. Thanks. Moving on to patriotism. What are some things that you're proud about Canada specifically?
That we're able to speak freely as we want. We can criticize the government without being thrown in jail.
Good point. Yeah. Good.
And just
Mm-hmm.
freedom of religion. Equality between the sexes.
Yeah.
There's human rights. Because there's other countries where, if you speak against the government, like you could probably be in jail for the rest of your life, or you could be tortured, and
Yeah.
no one really honestly care. Like even if the UN brings the issue up, nothing's gonna happen. So yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. And that we're in a country where how do I say it? There's opportunity to succeed in life. So
Mm.
yeah. I mean, that's becoming less and less, I think, in the last few years, but we still have the opportunity to do well in life, where there's a lot of countries where that's just not the case. Unfortunately, that's a sad reality.
Okay. Thanks. What is something you're passionate about outside of politics, and why?
Wow, I don't know. That's hard. I guess my religious belief. I guess that would be something.
Okay.
History.
Uh-huh.
But that kind of ties into politics in some ways. I think because I'm a historian, that
Uh-huh.
sort of ties into my interests.
Yeah.
With politics, because I've studied how our nation has come about, and
Okay.
the non-political correct version. Like
Mm.
now I think school is trying to rewrite history now, but when I was still in school, like most things were said as it was. So was yeah. So
Okay. So why religion and history? What interests you about them? What really what sparks your interest in those topics?
well, I mean, in terms of religion, it's what gives me meaning in life.
Yeah.
So it's basically like we live in a physical life. There's a lot of things we can do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things we can see, we can experience, but at the end of it, we come to an end, and at the end of it,
Mm-hmm.
there's things that we just cannot control.
Right.
I think the book of Ecclesiastes says time and chance happens to everybody. You can be very powerful, and yet by the time you're in your old age, you're ill.
Mm-hmm.
You can, or you can die in an accident. You can still have many years of life ahead of you, and so I guess for me, the religious aspect is that it gives me a purpose beyond this physical life. Like everything I'm doing here is for something greater. And people will pose the question is like, well, is there really life after death? And that's a topic I don't really want to get onto here on this particular interview. Yeah,
Right.
it's too big. It's sort of
Yeah.
like a theological
For
question.
sure.
But either way, even someone like Christopher Hitchen, who wrote
Mm-hmm.
the book God Is Not Great, even
Mm-hmm.
he admitted that religion can give people how do I call it, an anchor or stability in
Mm-hmm.
life.
Yeah.
So even though he disagreed with it, he thinks they're deceiving themselves, that
Yeah.
there's something beyond the physical. But
Yeah.
he says that it can give people some purpose, some anchor, and
Yeah.
just like living a life that they feel, living a good life because they feel that there's something beyond it. So, and as far as history, yeah, I'm just interested in, the fall and rise of nation, how humanity has developed, over the millennium, so yeah, that's, it was my favorite subject in high school, and I ended up taking it in university. So
Great. Well said. All right. Are there any closing words you'd like to say to all the viewers online?
yeah, I mean, I was sent a questionnaire. I was sent a bunch of, somebody sent me a questionnaire, for like
Mm-hmm.
no, local newspaper,
Oh,
and they asked me what I would like to say to people, and I'm gonna say the same thing, and
okay.
that
Yeah,
is
go
that,
ahead.
don't vote conservative simply because you want to keep the liberal out of power, and
All right.
don't vote the liberal simply because you want to keep the conservative out of power. Because
Oh,
both party, I think,
mm-hmm.
has in the last decade or so failed Canada for the most part, and they've
Mm-hmm.
both been the ruling party since Confederation. If you really want to see real change in Canada, maybe give the other party a chance.
Yeah.
And also, I encourage people to vote because I hear a lot of people complaining about the direction of the country. And I understand the cynicism toward voting because, to be honest with you, I've never voted. Well, I'll be voting this time, but up to this time, I haven't voted. I came close several times, but I always changed my mind at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage everybody to vote, like no matter what, because your vote won't be wasted. And then even if your party doesn't win, and even if things don't change course the way you want, at least you can say to yourself, I tried to do something, you know. And of course, it's not just in terms of politics, volunteering in the community, joining organization that does good, and in your own personal life, how you treat people, and what you do for people on a daily basis, like, those are all important, because right now, like, our country seems to become less and less civil, and,
Mm-hmm.
if you just keep doing the things that you believe are right, and, contributing to making society a little better in whatever way, I encourage people to do that. So, yeah.
Great. All right. So, if you'd like to donate to Jeremy's campaign, you can send an e-transfer to Markham Stoufville underscore
Oh, yeah.
PPC
Mhm.
at outlook.com. I'll write that in the description. Also, his contact information will be in the video description. So once again, I'd like to thank you very much, Jeremy, for speaking with us, and I hope you win the election. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me.